So now you can see, I mean, this is pretty interesting, right? You've probably never really thought of all these different costs, both time-wise and money-wise. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another delicious loaf of bread. This one is literally just out of the oven. Today we have a nice simple overnight white with about 14 hours worth of fermentation, and it has a very light and buttery taste. But today we're not talking about this type of bread. We're talking about another type of bread. Our money. As many of you know, I save anywhere from 50 to 80% of my income every single month, and I've been doing that for the past several years. 2 weeks ago, I put together a little tutorial to help you guys try and double your savings rate, and you seem to really like it, so I thought I would kind of continue on with that theme. So we're going to be doing some cool stuff in Google Sheets again today that should be very eye-opening about your finances. We're going to learn how to calculate your real income, and no, this is not just simply your after-tax income. This is something very different. And it's something that you're probably not aware of at all. Your real income is a very important financial concept to understand, because I think when you understand this, you'll never look at money the same way again. This was a big part about this realization I had about money when I was younger. And then from there, I kind of went on to reprogram my psychology about the way I looked and thought about money and utilized it in my own life. So with that said, let's do it. Let's jump into it. Let's fire up Google Sheets here. And then before we calculate our real income, I actually want to go through a quick exercise with you. It's a bit of a reality check, let's say. So first, what I want you to do is just set up two simple headings. So we're going to set up year and then income. And then what I want you to do in the first row here is I want you to enter the after-tax income that you earned last year. The easiest way to find this information, if you don't know it off by hand, is to go online and look at your previous tax returns. But if you're feeling lazy, just a rough estimate here is fine. We don't really need to be precise for this exercise. I'm going to be entering some income information from a friend of mine who was nice enough to help out with this video, and no, it's not this one sitting back here. She was the guinea pig for last video, but she's not the one today. Okay, and then once you have that input, what I want you to do is do the year before that, and the year before that, all the way back until the year that you first started working what you would consider to be your career. Now, if you're a student or you're working part-time or something like that, then don't worry about filling out this particular exercise, but I would encourage you to still watch and follow along, because you'll see what happens after we do this, and then I think it'll form a good perspective for you to carry into your career. On the other hand, if you've been working for a very long time and you don't want to put like 30 years worth of data here, then it's up to you how far back you want to go. I think probably something like the past 5 to 10 years is a good place to start. Okay, so now once you've got all the income data that you want to include here, we're going to go down to the bottom underneath the last line you have, and we're going to enter a formula that's going to help us calculate the sum total of all the income you have received over this period of time. So you can enter the equal sign, and then usually after you enter the equal sign, it's actually going to auto-populate the formula for you. So if I just hit enter here, it's going to automatically do the sum formula, and voila, that is the amount of income you've earned from your hard work over the years. So that's pretty cool, right? I bet you've probably never looked at that number before. Like, how much have I cumulatively earned from working? And what you might notice is, hey, that's actually a pretty big number. Like, I've earned a lot of money from working. But next, this is the potentially unpleasant part, because we're going to see how much of that money you've actually kept. So just down below here, I'm going to enter saved, spent, and then rate. And what we want to do is we want to then enter here how much money you've been able to save over the period of time that you're personally tracking. So in the case of my friend, she's been able to save about $10,000. Now, this number can include everything from savings accounts, emergency funds, investments, and I even think home equity would count here as well. Next, we're going to use this information to tell us how much money we've spent over that period of time. So we can just simply say equals this number minus this number. And that tells us that we've spent, in the case of my friend here, over $200,000 over the past 5 years. And then finally, we can use all of this information to tell us what our total percent savings rate is over that period of time. So we can enter equals this number divided by this number. After you've done that, in more cases than not, you may be shocked to see the results that are in front of you. How have I earned so much and kept so little? How have I spent that much money? On what? That's my total savings rate? Now. Don't beat yourself up too much here. The point isn't for this to be an opportunity to chastise yourself. The point is to realize that we give up a lot of our time, our energy. We exchange so much of our life to earn this money. So I personally see this as a reflection on what did I get in exchange for all of that? Are you personally happy or unhappy knowing the full results of that exchange? I'm guessing if you're watching this video, then it's maybe because you think something could maybe be improved in your financial life. Maybe you could have a better relationship with your money, and as a result, have a better overall quality of life. I don't know if your problems come from not saving enough money. I don't know why you might not be saving as much as you want to. But what I do know is that these exercises, the one I just showed you and another one I'm going to show you shortly, they will help you reflect on your own financial situation and hopefully help you form a better and more intentional relationship with your finances. And with that perspective, I'm going to show you how to calculate your real income. Something, again, that I think will really change the way you look at money. But first, I have to thank the sponsor of today's video, Neo. So check this out. I get 1.8% interest just to park my money in the Neo Money account at no cost to me. I get anywhere from 1 to upwards of 10% cashback with the Neo MasterCard when I spend money, again, at no additional cost to me. I am getting paid to use these financial products, and you can too. Now, there's a good chance if you're not with somebody like Neo, then you're paying to use financial products, possibly as much as hundreds of dollars per year. I'm getting paid hundreds of dollars per year to use these two things, the money account and the MasterCard. Now, you might be wondering, if this all sounds really good, but like where's the catch with this? Is Neo legit? Is my money safe? Yeah, of course. It's as safe as it is at any major bank. Neo has the same CDIC insurance protecting your money. And when I say get paid to use these, I really mean it. On top of the awesome perks of just having and using these things, if you sign up using the link down below, you'll get $50 when you're approved for this bad boy, and you'll get $10 for the money account. So that's $60 in total, but you have to sign up using the link down below to get it. Thank you to Neo for sponsoring this video. Okay, now it's time to jump into our Google Sheets once again, and this time we are going to calculate our real income. So in a fresh new sheet, I want you to set up the following headings. Category, cost, and time. To fill this out, I'm going to now be using myself as an example when I was but a young man. I still am a young man, but a younger man, I suppose. I'm going to be doing this based off of the first year I worked in corporate finance down on Bay Street in 2017, I believe that was. So here's the plan. Under category, I'm going to list any expenses that I incurred that were directly related to me being able to perform my job effectively. For example, I had to take the subway to go downtown every day to get to work. So I'm going to enter commuting here. And under cost, I want this to be a weekly analysis that we're doing. So the subway costed me about $140 per month. So on a weekly basis, that's about $47. Now, in addition to the monetary cost of commuting, it also costed me time to get there. It costed me about 1 hour of my day. It was a half-hour trip each way. So 1 hour a day, 5 days a week means it costed me 5 hours. Another expense I would list here is clothing. Since it was a professional environment, I had to wear dress clothes to work. But if I didn't have that job at the time, I definitely wouldn't have bought all these dress clothes. So I'd probably estimate that I spent something like $500 for the entire year on dress clothes. So weekly, that works out to be about $10. And then in terms of time, I'd say that it probably took me something like, I don't know, 15 minutes to get dressed and make sure I look presentable every day to go to work. So that's about 1.25 hours per week. So do you kind of get the idea so far here? Any expense, both monetary and time-wise, that you incurred to do your job effectively, I want you to put here. So the next one I'm going to put in is food, because sometimes I would buy food at work that I normally would not have bought because I usually like to make stuff at home. But sometimes you have to go for lunch with colleagues and different things like that. This also kind of ties into networking. So that's going out for dinner, drinks, stuff like that outside of work with colleagues or other people to expand your network. And in my particular job that I was doing at the time, this was a common enough occurrence. Something that you could also include here is a university or college degree. And what I would do is take something like your full kind of timeline of your career you expect to be working for. So if you said that was something like a 30-year period of time you expect your degree to be useful for in a career, then you can divide both the monetary and the time cost of that degree over a 30-year period and kind of spread it out that way, or whatever period you want to work with. Rent could also be one. To take my job, I had to move to Toronto, downtown Toronto, which is a very high cost of living area, especially where I grew up. It's way more expensive to live here than it is there. Of course, though, there is much more to making that type of decision. I didn't base it solely off the type of career I wanted to pursue, but I'd say it at least factored into 20% of the decision. So that's what I'm going to include here. I'd also consider health-related expenses here. Since my job required me to be sitting for most of the day, I had to do things outside of work to counteract all the negative effects from that. So this could be something like a gym membership or a yoga membership or massage or physio, anything like that. So here I'm gonna put a 50% rate for that. Finally, I definitely felt the need to decompress after working this job. And usually this would take the form of some kind of escapism, whether that was some type of like entertainment, streaming services, Netflix, whatever, or even a vacation. Since I found working in this corporate environment just to be absolutely soul-sucking, I felt as though in order for me to just get through it, just get to the next week or the next month or whatever it is, I needed these forms of escape. And maybe that's something you can relate to, and maybe it's a good thing to reflect on why that might be. Okay, so I think these are probably all the categories I can think of for myself about 5 years ago, but please feel free to include any other categories that you think are appropriate for you. So next, what I want you to do is similar to last time. I want you to enter in a formula to sum up the columns. So we'll do that for both of them. So now you can see, I mean, this is pretty interesting, right? You've probably never really thought of all these different costs, both time-wise and money-wise, that apply to you being able to do your job. And we can use this information to calculate how much you really take home from your job. So let's first get our baseline here. So we're gonna put total earnings as a new heading. Then beside that, we'll put hours worked. And then finally, we'll put earnings per hour. And then on the left here, we can have unadjusted and adjusted. So in this cell here, I want you to put your after-tax income that you earned in whatever particular year that you are analyzing here. But I don't want to put the full year's income here. I want to get this down to a weekly amount because that's what we're looking at. So for me, I'm going to enter equals, brackets, 45,000, because that's how much total after-tax income I made in this particular year, I think. Then divided by 12 for the months of the year. And then that number divided by 4 for the 4 weeks in a month. Oh, whoops. One too many zeros there. 1 second. There we go. Okay, so I was earning about $937 per week. And I was working 40 hours per week, which means I can calculate my earnings per hour by dividing total earnings by 40 hours to tell me I was making about $23 per hour. But that's not my real income from my job. To find my real income, I'll now subtract the cost of my work-related expenses, both from the monetary value and the hourly value here. So on an adjusted basis, I'll subtract this from this to tell me that I actually earned $717 per week. And I'll add 40 plus this number here to tell me that I actually worked in total, everything related to my work and my work, 56 hours per week. So really, I was only earning $12.64 per hour. Because of all the things I needed to spend money on to do my job effectively and sustainably without having a terrible quality of life, that meant I was really only taking home $12.64 for myself to live the rest of my life with outside of my work. So now, once you have this number for yourself, I think there's a number of things that we can learn from this. First of all, knowing your real hourly wage can put financial decisions into a much different perspective for you. Next time you're thinking about buying something, well, now you can think, how many hours of everything related to my work am I actually going to have to spend to purchase this thing? The second thing we can learn, I think, is a little bit deeper. What is the point of all of this? Are we working to live, living to work, or something else entirely? From what do we derive meaning and fulfillment in our lives? And are we actually spending our time and money on those things? Or are we just coasting through life on autopilot with our time and our money falling through the cracks? Those are the questions that I think I would leave you with today to think about. I hope this one was as helpful as the last one I did that was similar to this, which if you haven't checked out, by the way, you can check out, I think it should be actually popping up on the screen somewhere. I go over an exercise of trying to double your savings rate. And with all that said, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm gonna go enjoy a nice big slice of that delicious bread. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye.